Well, I think that religious leaders need to be involved in the climate issue because it is one of our, if not the most greatest challenge that we're facing today in this generation. And climate change is destroying creation, the creation that God presented us with and made us part of. And if people who sit in the pews and profess a love for God are not protecting God's creation, then we are not being the stewards of creation that we were called to be. And I believe that the more religious leaders who get that message, the faster we will have be able to make the changes that we need to make to alleviate some of the warming trend. Well, a lot of religious leaders are my age and older, and they didn't study environmental ethics or creation care in seminary. And they've come out of seminary with the notion that we are all about saving souls. And I always say there aren't going to be any souls to save unless we save the air and the water and the land in which we grow our food. And it's only recently, as we've seen environmental disasters happen quite continuously all over the world, that religious people have started to realize that we have to start leading this movement. If we say we love God, sit in a pew, and pray for a reverence for the earth, then we need to be leading the charge to save this planet. And climate is the worst of the problems we're facing. It affects crops and food and trees and fish and coral reefs and disease. Everything really that has to do with life as we know it is affected by the changing climate. And religious leaders need to be involved and need to know about it. So a conference like this is tremendously helpful in having people of faith recognize that care for creation is a responsibility of faith. When I was in seminary, way back in about 1993, it wasn't so long ago, but in 93, a friend of mine and I decided that we wanted to have an organization that would link religion and the environment, and the mission statement of the Regeneration Project is to deepen the connection between ecology and faith. And for about 4 years we worked on going to different congregations, churches, synagogues, and giving classes on deepening the connection between ecology and faith. A little bit of what I previously said, which was the big picture that religious people are the stewards of creation. But as time went on and the climate issue became more and more the issue that needed to be addressed, we launched a campaign called Interfaith, Power, and Light. And that is a religious response to global warming. And we're asking congregations to cut their carbon footprint and serve as an example to the community. We've got 10,000 congregations across the country and programs in 28 states. We know the congregations are hungry for the theological underpinnings of why the church should be involved in the climate issue. We know that people are hungry for, now that they know it's a problem, what can they do about it? So those are the issues that we address in our organization. And anyone who's interested in finding out more about what we do can go to the regenerationproject.org. I've been asked a great many times about how does the environment fit into my religious life. And there are many, many folks in this country who really do follow the guidelines of their faith. And even more of those folks take the Bible literally. So if they're being asked to do something or change a behavior, they want to know that the Bible actually has that in there. And it's very important for a Bible literalist, sometimes that's folks in the evangelical community, they want to see that God put Adam in the garden to till it and to keep it. Those are the words that are there. Those are the words where God says, here Adam, here's the garden, take care of it. And then the passage where Jesus says, what you do to the least of us, you do to me. And when you recognize that a lot of the environmental degradation that's happening, including and particularly climate change, it's the least of us who suffer the most. They also contribute the least to the problem. Social justice issue, moral issue. And I just believe that if we're going to make the changes we need to make, that the evangelical Bible literalists need to be able to open their Bible and point to the passage that says, I am the steward of creation. And they're there. Dominion. Dominion is not dominate and destroy. Dominion is care for and compassion, the kind of dominion that a parent has over their child. You want your child to be the best they can be. You have dominion over your child. You don't break his legs or ribs or give him black eyes. You help them be the best they can be. And that's what God gave us, dominion. Help this place that I have just created be the best it can be. Well, again, and I don't like to keep bringing up the evangelical community, but some of the Bible literalists are skeptical about science in general. And there is a theory, and it's not my own, but I think it's pretty real, that if those Bible literalists were to accept the science of climate change, they might have to accept the science of evolution, and their whole theology would unravel. So they really cannot say, okay, this science is real, and because the science is real and the scientists say it's real, I'm going to act on this problem of the changing climate. But rather, they can look at all these passages in the Bible that call them to be a steward of creation, and no matter what the issue is or how it's happening, recognize that we are the stewards of creation, therefore you don't abuse the creation. And if that mindset can be established even within the community of people that are skeptical of the science, they're probably not skeptical of saving money. I mean, if you put in compact fluorescent light bulbs and practice energy efficiency and weatherize your buildings in your facilities and in your homes, you're saving money. So whether or not climate change is real, these are all things that we should be doing anyway. Retrofitting buildings creates jobs. We could, if we do more wind and sun and start building factories that will produce those items, we create jobs. We give the economy a big boost, and nobody's against that. So you can be a Bible literalist and you don't have to believe that climate change is real and still want to practice energy efficiency conservation and move towards clean energy. Well, I think that is, I think that the idea that people bring environmental disasters on themselves is heresy. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but I certainly don't think that that's the case. I would never, ever accuse a poor community that is totally wiped out by a environmental disaster such as Katrina. I never would accuse them of having brought this on themselves. And I do think that is almost it's almost a sinful way of looking at Scripture and theology. There are people who are disadvantaged, who are being hurt by what affluent people are doing. And this notion that you just tell them will pull themselves up by the bootstraps and work harder is really not realistic or fair or just. And as Jesus said, what you do to the least of us, you do to me.